One of the oldest meeting houses can be found right here in Burlington. This past Sunday, the United Church of Christ Congregational in Burlington held a special service and luncheon for their 285th anniversary.
Our church was built in the year 1732, which was 285 years ago. In fact, the church was built in one day, 285 years ago today, July 23rd, 1732. And so it's a very big deal and milestone in the life of our church. And so we use today as an opportunity to celebrate our very rich and long history.
Local historian Mike Trudeau attended and participated in the service and told me a little bit about the origin of the UCC.
Burlington's a town with three birthdays. 1642, when Woburn was formed, and this was part of Woburn at the beginning. 1730 is when the residents of the Shawshin area were allowed to build their own meeting house. And 1799 is when the town of Burlington itself was incorporated. 1732 is when the old meeting house, what is now the UCC Church, was constructed. It's one of the oldest original frame churches in Massachusetts, one of the 10 oldest, as a matter of fact. And it is the building really around which Burlington was formed, because in colonial America, the church was the government. There was no separation of church and state. And so you had to have a church and a meeting house in order to have an actual community.
The UCC had done some remodeling over the years to the interior and exterior part of the church.
The interior originally was very plain. It would just be an open area, much like this building is here now. Okay? There would have been no decorations. Stained glass was out of the question. They didn't have a steeple or a bell in the steeple. They would have benches, little just not even with backs, just plain benches set up that the people would sit on. The pastor would be at one end. The women and children would sit to his left, and the men to his right. And service would be held. Church service would be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours long. So this was quite a chore for the farmers of that time, because they still had livestock to take care of and crops to attend to, which is why the people of the Shawshin area petitioned for a long time to get their own meeting house.
Finally, Reverend Wells and Mr. Trudeau hope people took something away from the 285th anniversary.
I hope that the message we remember is that God's love endures. And if we continue to keep our focus fixated on that and remember that all the ministries in the life of the church that we do are to perpetuate God's love in the world and to serve the neediest and most vulnerable people around us, then the church will endure and will survive. And that our job is to care for one another. And we have such an incredible community here full of loving people who really do care for each other in the world. And as long as we stay focused on that and don't get sort of distracted by other things that can take our eye off what we're called to do, then the church will continue to exist for many years to come.
Take away this. This is the building around which Burlington was formed, around which the community began. Not just the church, but Burlington itself.
From the UCC, I'm Robert Paris for B News Weekly.